Hello EFD squad and welcome back to the UCL review where me and Joseph put Europe's creme de la creme competition underneath the microscope. Going to shake our stats stick at it, starting with Club Brugge versus PSG. Now Joseph's a little bit ill. Okay, so give him a break in the comments if his energy is a little bit down.
Yeah.
But PSG's chances of winning the Champions League up.
Yes, because they battered Club Brugge 5-0. This is a Club Brugge, of course, that went to the Bernabeu and managed to get a result in the last game week. So they are no mugs, but neither is Kylian Mbappe, who ripped them limb from limb, becoming the youngest player in Champions League history to score 15 goals. But it wasn't Mbappe who really got them going. It was Mauro Icardi in this game, who, I don't know about you, totally forgot, even played for PSG. He's, of course, on loan from Inter Milan. It's been a bit of a slow start to life in Paris. This was just his 5th start for the club since arriving, but he's now starting to find his feet. And a man who has very much found his feet in Paris is Angel Di Maria. 3 assists on the night. He has already been involved in 15 goals this season, by the way. That's a goal involvement every 63 minutes, if you're wondering, which is just frightening. In fact, only Edinson Cavani has contributed more Champions League goals to PSG since Di Maria's arrival. 22-20. So it's almost as if people shouldn't have written Di Maria off when he left Old Trafford in the first place, despite the fact he is a rat.
Think what he would have done to those Europa League defences had you kept him, mate.
I know, AZ Alkmaar would have been shaking at the knees. Despite PSG scoring very early, getting off to a blistering start, Club Brugge, as we know, are no mugs. They then outshot the Parisians 3-2 up until half-time. And it wasn't really until Kylian Mbappe came on in the 52nd minute for Eric Choupo-Moting,
who was rubbish,
who was wearing Harry Potter's invisibility cloak up until then, that the game really changed. It took the 20-year-old 9 minutes, obviously, to leave his impression, didn't it? He basically just ripped them limb from limb in the 35 to 40 minutes he was on the pitch. We've run out of superlatives to describe him. He's now a freak. He's in that sort of Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi when they were young territory.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident he's outscoring them in 2019. So insane given his recent injury woes as well. And then he turned provider not long after for his 12th goal involvement of the season in just 12 appearances. Not many of them starts either. Great to see him back after those thigh problems that have been plaguing him in recent weeks. And he completed his first Champions League hat-trick just 20 minutes later. Pretty unsurprising given that he outshot everybody on the pitch in that small window with 5 efforts in total, or 1 every 7.6 minutes.
Easy.
Sickening.
Easy for him, isn't it?
Okay. And if you haven't checked out Di Maria's final assist, that outside of the boot curled through ball, it was pure velvet. Do yourself a favour, watch it on YouTube. 5 chances he created from open play.
Not bad.
5. Other noteworthy performances for Les Parisiens. Shout out to Marquinhos, 70 passes, which was a match high. 5 tackles and interceptions, also a match high, and 3 clearances, ensuring that PSG were never really troubled at the back, despite some hairy moments in the first half, like you kind of just highlighted there. A humbling for Club Brugge. They were probably expecting it, but they've been dominant on the domestic front, unbeaten in their first 10. 27-year-old Hans van Aken, probably their standout player on the night. 3 dribbles completed, 2 tackles, and a chance laid on for his teammates. So he huffed and he puffed, but they didn't blow any houses down, did they? And he's been pretty good in the league as well. Not that I'm a massive fan of the Jupiler Pro League, or whatever it's called, but 6 goals in 10 appearances from the centre midfield. Big up yourself. They must be now absolutely cacking their pants for that return visit to Paris on the 6th of November. Things could get very, very messy indeed, with Cavani set to return from injury very soon. Neymar, he's still out for an unspecified amount of time, but he could get in on the act, and it could well be a cricket score by the time those 2 ties are over. Does this strength in depth up front in particular, you know, given Sarabia, given Icardi, Cavani returning, Neymar returning, does this give PSG an edge that they've not had before in this competition, do you think?
I still think they'll bottle it when it comes to it. They've had pretty much the same forward line for the last 2 seasons, haven't they? Bottled it both times, so.
Okay, ignore everything we've just said, all the hoi polloi. They're going to bottle it. Let's move on to our next game. Before we move on, if you're not a member of the EFD squad, then click subscribe as displayed on screen now to never miss a European video. Moving on.
Right, moving on then to Manchester City, who absolutely battered Atalanta 5-1 at the Etihad. They went 5 points clear at the top of Group C. Atalanta are having a torrid time in the Champions League. They've been bigged up by everybody domestically, saying they play this beautiful football. Well, they are bottom on 0 points from 3 games, having got battered by Dinamo Kiev 4-0. They got battered 5-1 last night. And Pep, interestingly, lined up, didn't he, with Rodri and Fernandinho at centre-back. And we saw, finally, Phil Foden in a starting 11. I never thought I'd see the day.
Nah, he's like a Mewtwo.
That he actually got a start. But he got a start here. And it didn't start well because Atalanta took the lead early doors, didn't they? Fernandinho, uncharacteristically actually, giving away a penalty with a pretty sloppy challenge. That was just Atalanta's second goal in the Champions League this season, which doesn't inspire confidence despite this narrative that they're an amazing attacking side. Only 2 goals in the Champions League. And from then on out, City pretty much took control. Obviously, Aguero getting a first half brace. One of those was his 10th goal in all competitions already this season. We kind of just expect that now of Sergio Aguero. And at half-time, City had already had 5 shots on target and had 65% possession. So they were looking strong favourites for the win. And in the second half, Raheem Sterling basically decided he was going to take the game by the scruff of the neck, scored an 11-minute hat-trick and killed them off completely, getting an assist in that 45 as well. But it was far from a perfect night for Guardiola, because Rodri obviously went off with what looked like a pulled hamstring. There were rumours that he could be out for up to a month, which is a devastating blow given that they're having to play Fernandinho at centre-back because of other injuries. Luckily, John Stones looks like he's making his comeback. Either way, the narrative of the night, Raheem Sterling.
Yes, Big Boris is wrecking the pound, but Sterling, baby, that keeps soaring, doesn't it? But I'm bummed. Involved in all 5 goals, assisting the first, winning the penalty for the second, and scoring the subsequent 3.
Stinky.
He's already got 12 goals in just 13 games in all competitions for City this season. And I was impressed in particular by that second finish. Allow the miss for the 4th, okay? He was looking for his guy, Mahrez. But the way he comes back across to slam that home on the keeper's right-hand side for the second goal, that was Aguero-esque. I don't think 18 months ago he opts for that finish.
Yeah.
But he's just becoming more and more decisive, isn't he? For club and country in particular, 16 appearances, 16 goals, 10 assists, a goal involvement every 54.5
get in the
minutes.
bin.
Ooh, this was his 4th hat-trick for Manchester City as well in his last 35 games, having only ever scored 1 professional hat-trick before March. So Purple Patch doesn't even do this justice, guys. Since Pep Guardiola took over, he's got 161 goals and assists. 82 goals, 79 assists, if you're wondering, in just 3.5 seasons. He's now one of the top 5 players in world football, isn't he? Phil Foden also playing really well despite that red card. Drop me out, referee. What are you playing at? 3 chances created, 3 dribbles with a 95% pass accuracy, and he's just got such good match awareness for someone his age, hasn't he? He just knows where each and every player is. Very intuitive. The game was marred, like I said, by that Foden red card, meaning he now has more red cards than Premier League starts this season. That was a little dig from Joe in the script. So
Had to get it in there somehow, didn't it? How does this kid not start for City?
It is absolutely obscene, but great to see him get some meaningful minutes. And yeah, look forward to watching him boss it in the next EFL Cup game.
Moving on to the final game we're covering today, then it's Bayern Munich 3-2 against Olympiakos.
Yeah.
This was a tough night for the Bavarians, but they scraped through to go 5 points clear of Spurs at the top of Group B. Some people will be saying, why didn't you include Tottenham Hotspur? Because all we do is talk about Spurs at the moment. They had a good result last night against Red Star.
And no one actually cares. Every time we do a Spurs title, it does 50k max. And that puts us out of a job.
Exactly.
Right? We've banned Spurs.
Anyway, let's go back to Bayern Munich, because like I said, it was a tough night for them. They did come through victorious in the end, but they did go behind 23 minutes into the game before Lewandowski got a brace shock. I think he's already got 20 goals this season, which is just absolutely ridiculous when you think about it. We're not even in November and he scored 20.
Yeah,
he's going to end up on 40 to 50 at this rate. And then Tolisso scored as well. The stats do suggest that Olympiakos were somewhat fortunate to score 2 in this game. XG had them down as 0.9. Bayern at about 2.3. So 2-1 probably would have been a more fair scoreline. Nevertheless, Bayern are in a patch of iffy form. Bar that crushing of Tottenham Hotspur, who themselves are all over the place at the moment. They obviously lost 2-1 against Hoffenheim, drew 2-2 against Augsburg, and they're now in third, which means the pressure on Kovac is immense. You cannot be third in the Bundesliga as manager of Bayern Munich. I've seen loads of rumours recently about him losing his job, and that narrative seems to be picking up pace. We saw Christian Falk, who was an extremely reliable football reporter over in Germany. I think he might be the head of football at Bild, claim that Ralf Rangnick has potentially been interviewed for the job.
Well, that would be sinister.
Would be extremely exciting, though, as well, wouldn't it, to see Rangnick go to Bayern. He's also reporting,
the professor,
Christian Falk, that Jose Mourinho has held talks with Borussia Dortmund over a potential move there.
What is going on in the bully?
Where Lucien Favre is a little bit up and down. And that move would shock me. Because that seems almost polar opposite to the kind of system and attitude and ethos that they've created at Dortmund of giving youngsters a chance, buying low, selling high. Jose is a buy high, sell low, win silverware immediately kind of man.
Okay.
Which would be a little bit of a surprise.
Agreed.
But to see Kovac leave, would it surprise you?
At the moment, no, because once something becomes a narrative, like you said, once we start to give way to story bias, which we as human beings love to do, make everything a story, normally comes full circle.
Yeah, they've also apparently been in contact with Erik ten Hag, of course, the Ajax coach, but he has said that he won't leave mid-season.
Ooh, that'd be tasty.
So they have to wait until the season's up under Kovac in order to get him. But that would be tasty as well. Either way, you know, Kovac is struggling, but some players, like Lewandowski, are not.
Yeah, he's been largely indebted to Robert Lewandowski's form at the start of this season, really dragging Bayern through, like you said, this iffy patch. However, when you look at the Bavarians' underlying numbers, they're often underperforming. So part of me thinks that Kovac is one of the unluckiest Bayern managers in the modern era. Aside from that, let's go back to Lever, because 21 goals in 17 games for club and country this term probably makes him the best number 9 in world football right now. He scored in every single game he's played in this season, bar the German Super Cup against Dortmund. Didn't get off to the greatest of starts, did they? And has 36 goals in 36 games in 2019. The best in Europe, ahead of Messi's 32 in 36.
36 in 36. That's stupid, isn't it?
Oh, I'm going to TC. Had a very solid all-round 90 as well. It's not just putting the ball in the net that marks him out as an elite player, is it? 3 tackles and interceptions, 3 aerial duels won, and 3 key passes to go along with his 3 shots, 2 goals, and 1 definite Man of the Match award. Slightly concerning, though, that they were troubled this much by Olympiakos. Pedro Martin's side only have 1 draw to show for their opening 3 UCL games, conceding 8 goals in the process. And they've not won a Champions League game since a 2-1 victory over Dinamo Zagreb in November 2015. So the record since then reads like this. Played 11, won 0, drawn 2, lost 7, conceded 28.
That makes that result for Tottenham Hotspur look even worse.
On a slightly more positive note, though, defensive midfielder Guilherme did play very well. Unfortunate to be on the losing side, got his goal, but probably didn't play as well as Thiago Alcantara, the midfield master, the conductor. We'll talk about him at every given opportunity. A 93% pass act, 4 tackles and interceptions, 3 aerial duels won, which is a bit weird for him because I think he's about my size, 1 dribble and 1 key pass. Big worry for Bayern, though. Luka Hernandez, ankle injury.
Another defensive problem.
Salihamidzic said he's out for several weeks, which is never great when they're a little bit coy about it. He joins a Nicolas Sula on the sidelines. But it's pretty fortunate they have versatile players like Pavard who can play centre-back, right-back. Of course, the young man Kimmich can play right-back, midfield. So I'm sure that Kovac will find a way. If he's still in the job, do you think he should keep his job?
Yeah, for now. I still think that they'll probably sack him eventually, but it won't be this week. I'd be very surprised if it's this week.
Unless he wins the Champions League, of course. And then he'll get to keep it. So that's it for this week's UCL review. They're all our top build games. Joseph, what should the fine people go and do now?
Well, hold your horses on this channel, I would suggest. Keep the screen loaded because tonight there is a total football live stream for Chelsea versus Ajax. Make sure you tune in to the sofa because there is some top tier talent on display to watch that game, isn't there?
There is.
And we might get to see Sam Obaseki shed a tear.
Oh, I'd love that. Bye.